This is Neville Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
Levy, Michigan. Well, now your best available is now.
Follows us. They're live in Tampa. NFL Live is live in Tampa today as we're counting it down to the biggest game.
What is up, Cowboys Nation? The intro a little bit, Jimmy. We kept getting copyrighted. I don't know if you saw it, and I use a non-copyright music, so I didn't have time. Football weekend, didn't have time to fix it. But welcome to the show. Football championship Sunday. It's probably if Dallas ain't in there, it sucks. But it is a great day in sports. But before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share, spread the word, spread the knowledge, because we've got a lot of stuff to get to today. So, Jimmy, first of all, how you doing and how's your weekend?
It was a good weekend. The big topic here in New York in regards to football is controversy that the Empire State Building changed colors to the Eagles and then later on to the Chiefs. How stupid is that? They've never done that before.
You can't do that, and especially, that's your home city town. Now, I'll tell you a quick story before we get going. I was talking to a fellow guy, content creator, and he invited me, wanted to maybe link up on the show, and we'll probably get something going. He's a Giants fan, and I was going to go on his show, and he's like, "Hey, man, just check my check out my podcast before you come on," and I did. And I said, "No, man, you good stuff." I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of watched bits and pieces, get a flavor for kind of what he's doing and this and that. And then all of a sudden, at the end, it says, "Go Giants out." So he said, "Hey," he goes, "every guest of mine, whether you're a Cowboys fan, whether you're Eagle, whatever you are, has to say that." I said, "Well, I ain't going on that show. There ain't no way in hell I'm going to be. I'd never say that. Not going to happen." So anyway, so it was funny, but so we're still working. He's a good guy. We're definitely going to work something up for this show. Get him on, talk a little football. He's got a lot to say. Giants fan, but it's weird. He's a Giants fan, lives in Dallas because he thought maybe I lived in Dallas, but obviously I don't. So it is what it is.
Well, he must have been pissed. The team that bumped them right here in New York, I can care less. You know me, I'm a Falcon. I can care less about the Jets or Giants. They're the hometown teams. If they would have made it in, my Falcons aren't, I would have rooted for them. But the team that knocked you out, now all of a sudden they're advertising them, their colors atop the Empire State Building. Stupid.
Well, and the crazy thing, what's up, my brother? Let me just say a quick welcome to my man in the chat, Cole's Cowboys. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into some Cowboys first, Jimmy, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Because then the predominant time is going to be spent. We know where all the time is going to be spent. So let's just get into it. Let's get into the big news. What's up, Jimmy?
It's Christmas in January for you Cowboys fans with Kellen Moore.
We got a man in the ATL repping the boys. That's good. I like that. But let's talk about Kellen Moore. We talked about it a little bit on, some previous shows. On Thursday's show with Kelly K9, you and I kind of talked a little bit about it throughout the year. A change needed to be made. And it's not that Kellen Moore's a bad coordinator. It's not like he's capable. It's just, it's kind of run its course. It's kind of run its course in Dallas, and they just need a fresh start. I think both parties needed a fresh start. I think it's good for Kellen. He got hired by the Chargers, so good for him. I wish him nothing but the best, except when we play him. But I just think the Cowboys, something had to change, because you can't continue to keep doing the same thing and not getting the results that you're wanting. And you can't get rid of the quarterback. It's too much money. Quarterbacks are hard to find, so it's just maybe a new OC will kind of energize this offense, because the offense it produces, it just seems, when it matters most in crunch time or against teams that kind of scheme you really well, they don't really have a lot of answers for.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you said, nothing wrong with a fresh start. I was shocked it happened, because it's been talked about since last year. And you know what? There's a cliche. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It was smart move. Now, I got to ask you, because obviously a lot more than me. Did he step down, or was it mutual, or
They
what was
said
it?
it was mutual, but I think it was more on the Cowboy side, but I think Moore was kind of hearing it too. I think
Yeah,
him and McCarthy, maybe that relationship started to sour down the way McCarthy had made some comments, kind of side comments about the
yeah,
offense, about what he would do and what he would be, wanting to do as far as getting some guys involved early and often, your key playmakers, because there'd be times where some of the guys you just don't see them, and then all of a sudden they disappear. And you know how it is, especially receivers. You got to get them in the groove, got to get
yeah.
them in the motion. But it had to happen. It had to happen. This team, you're looking at McCarthy. This was the last piece of the Jason Garrett era that's still hanging around. And I said when McCarthy got hired, they should have cut ties with everybody. Jerry wanted to keep the OC, wanted to keep the consistency with Dak, but I think it was the best move. I don't know what you guys think in the chat if you're feeling good about it, because the funny thing is everybody wanted it, and then he gets hired by the Chargers, and now everyone's kind of oh, look how quick he got hired and this and that. Oh, the Cowboys made a big mistake. Think about it, Jimmy. If you had a guy that had a number one, top offense, 3 years they've had one of the top offenses. Man, the COVID year kind of screwed it up. So at least the 2 or 3 out of the 4 years, he's not unemployed from a head coaching job. He's getting a head coaching job. Forget an OC
Right.
job, but he couldn't get a head coaching job. So that tells me a little bit more than what's out there, because there's just no way that he wouldn't have been hired to be a head coach. And he's interviewed a few, and he just hadn't been able to get a job.
No, true story. But anyway, hey, again, like I said, you guys finally got your wish, and I think it's the right move. You move on.
Well,
Who's come?
well,
Who's
as
got?
I was going to ask you. So the rumor is Mike McCarthy more than likely is going to call the plays. He's going to be the OC. You may get a guy in there. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but if you're McCarthy, do you want to have control of, he's an offensive minded guy. He's called plays at plenty of times. People don't realize McCarthy, I mean, he was on the staff with Joe Montana when he was in Kansas City. You had Rich Gannon. I mean,
Yeah,
he's obviously had
yeah.
Brett Favre. He had the offense in New Orleans when they had, I think it was Deuce McAllister and maybe Ricky Williams when they were kind of running that
Yes,
running back system.
that's right.
Obviously, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, so it's not like this guy's some chump. I mean, sometimes they make it seem like this guy, he's just a chump we picked off the streets. I mean, he's got a resume of success on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, and you know what? It's not out of the ordinary. I mean, look at Arthur Smith, who's our head coach. He was calling plays since week 3, and you know what? If I think a head coach is smart enough in this league that if you can't handle it, don't do it. You need a legitimate offensive coordinator. If you can handle it, do it. This is the big leagues. This isn't the little league. It's the big leagues. So,
And
it's a smart move, like you said.
And
Plenty
I
of good
mean,
stuff.
he's got to be feeling the pressure too, right? Because the pressure in Dallas gets big, right? So you're 12-5. You get bounced in the first round last year when you had a home playoff game. 12-5. You win a road playoff game. Everyone's feeling pretty good. And then you put a great, phenomenal defensive performance, and it's wasted by the offense. And I think really what sealed his fate was, when you got the ball, what was 3 minutes left or whatever it was, you go 3 and out.
Yeah.
You got to have your best plays there, and you can't even manage a first down or can't even get anything. Now, credit San Francisco, but you got to get something on offense, and then again having it 5 wide or whatever it was when you're inside the zone on 2nd and 2 when you can run the ball before half and then you get turnover. I mean, just some of the situational football with the offense, that's where it just kind of got Cowboy fans frustrated. They put up yards, they put up numbers, they put up top scoring and this and that, but it just seemed in crunch time and when things really mattered in big games, it just didn't get the results that you need.
No, and like you said, when situational plays, you don't need to run trick plays. You know what? We've always said that it's one of the trenches. Second, you get 2 yards, you get that first down. You don't need to screw around and try for the pass and all hell breaks loose. So I think you're right. It was time to part ways. You see who comes in and
Yeah, I just say, and again, to Doug's point, yeah, I don't think if you see them get kind of what you call as a lower to almost like a glorified quarterbacks coach or an offensive game planner or something like that. then that tells you that McCarthy's going to be calling his own plays. If they go out and get a legit OC, someone that's done it, someone that's been there, then that tells you that they're going to be calling the plays. Me personally, I like to have an offensive coordinator. I just think the coach has so many other things to kind of work himself with. But a lot of coaches do it. I mean, McVay done it down in the Rams. I mean, so many coaches do it. I think the Bengals coach, doesn't he do it? I mean,
Arthur Smith does. Yeah.
Your coach does it. So a lot of them do it. So it's not anything that's some big revelation and going to be a big problem. But I just hope they've got to do something because, worst case scenario happen, this weekend. And we've talked about it. And I've said that, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. And some of these guys want, they weren't cared about the 1 seed. Oh, we just want to get in. We want to do this. And you want the highest seed possible. And then look what happened. The highest seed possible goes to the Eagles, and look at the road that they had to go to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better road.
No, it was easy pickings for them. And we'll get to that in a minute because I do have some thoughts on that one. But, when you bring – okay.
Let's just get to it.
Okay, let's get to it.
I'm done with more. There's nothing else to talk about. The man's out of here. I could care less about him. I want to talk more about the championship games and what happened on Sunday. I mean, what was your thoughts? This game just kind of spiraled quickly.
It sucked. I mean, well, first of all, okay, so you had Purdy get hurt. I mean, that kind of stunk in and of itself. But let's talk Jalen Hurts. Think about it. He had under 200 yards passing. He barely had any yards rushing. And actually 35 of the yards came off of a pass that, they really should have threw the flag because it was dropped, it hit the ground. So I think he was more of a clock manager yesterday. I didn't see him, put up anything big, but like you said, home field advantage. You had the Giants and then you had the 49ers team that, basically took a lot of penalties on defense. There was a couple crappy calls, but, they got to take it upon themselves.
It was the easiest path for him to get to the
crazy.
Now that takes nothing away from him. Hey, you play who's in front of you, and if we're Cowboy fans and we had the number 1 seed and that was our path, I mean, you ain't gonna see me cry, apologize, and nope. saying anything. So I credit them. They were the most consistent team in the NFL, whether we like it or we don't like it. It's the way it is. And,
no, I know.
You can't take anything away from them. But I mean, things happen pretty good for him, right? You get the injury to the quarterback very early on.
Yeah.
That obviously didn't hurt the situation.
Nope.
And then you bring in a guy who's was terrible. The other quarterback was terrible. He gets hurt. Now you got nothing. You're going to trot your running back out there. And then, then they bring, Purdy back and he can't throw the ball more than 5 yards. So, I mean, game over. It was game over, and they talk about what they put on the San Francisco defense. The defense was out there the whole damn game, and then the Niners offense was turning the ball over left and right. So you can't really judge that game to anything. It was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And me, I have no love lost for Kyle Shanahan. He screwed my team out of a Super Bowl by throwing the ball, and we're up 28-3 in the second half. But at the end of the day, I think that he could have made some adjustment. I'm not going to say it would have made a difference. It would have been a difference maker. But, run a wildcat, run something. You cannot expect to, run out the 4th-string quarterback who's played for 13 different teams and something's going to happen out of that. You had to run something different. I don't care what it was. Even if it was a wildcat the rest of the game.
No, and that's to the point. I mean, they only had 120 yards pass. If San Francisco could have stopped the run of the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles they didn't run all over them. It was like 3 yards a carry. They stayed with it, and I think that's where Dallas sometimes makes a mistake is they abandon the run quickly and they fall in love with the pass in certain situations instead of just saying, hey, we're going to run the ball and let's see you trying to stop it. We'll get our 2 yards and be happy, get the first down and get 4. Dallas, Moore used to get cute, not to go backwards on him. But, the Eagle fans are hyped up, Jimmy. They're hyped up. And I wanted to play this for you because this is how I feel. This is how I feel. And I had to, I had to steal this from Ric Flair. But this is how I feel about the Eagles in this Super Bowl.
I promise you this, above all else, I'm going to be more obnoxious, more overbearing, and I'm going to make you all learn to love it because you'll have no choice.
That's if the Eagles lose, that's gonna be me. They went after Kelly K9 a little bit. I saw some guys going after him and posting stuff, and they have a right. Hey, man, I dish it out. I got to be able to take it. They're in the Super Bowl.
Right.
We're not. So but they better win. They better win because really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And if they lose, then their Super Bowl record, I believe, would be 1-1, 1-2, would be 1-3. So they better win.
What? Philadelphia, we don't want to hear them running their mouths because again. But you know what? It is going to be an interesting matchup. I know we're going to get to the Chiefs and Bengals here in a minute, but it's going to be a really interesting matchup and see how that plays out because this is not what I expected. I mean, I thought it would be San Francisco and Cincinnati, and so
we're going to get into that with Uncle Cheech in a little bit after we cover a little bit more. But yeah, I predicted San Francisco and Cincinnati as well.
Yeah,
I thought Cincinnati had the Chiefs number and really just jump into that game. It was a great showdown. It was you couldn't ask. The first game sucked. I mean, everything that happened. I was out in the yard. I said, screw this. I went out in the yard, was washing windows and doing something else.
Oh, you're out in the yard.
Out in the yard, get ready for the later game because that other game sucked. But this game, it lived up to the hype. Yeah. It was a great game, but it goes without saying, what was up with the officiating? Did it make you feel like this was kind of the outcome that they wanted to make the Super Bowl matchup? Andy Reid going against his old team in Philadelphia.
There was times you thought about it. I mean, first of all, it's all over social media, and you look at it, and it's hard to disagree. I mean, come on, proof's in the pudding, man. And that's why my wife's grandfather has said for years, it's fixed, it's rigged, and sometimes you have to wonder. This ain't some tinfoil hat stuff. You saw it. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know if it was on our show earlier, but I did talk about it on another show. Do you know that for IRS or for whatever the things, the NFL is classified as an entertainment? It's not classified as sport.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're tax exempt.
Yeah. So it's a little weird. The one, I mean, it was just such a good game, but when the referee, they ran the whole play and then they stopped it and then they had to redo the whole thing. And then there was a couple penalties that were just like, what is the holding calls? And
bizarre.
It seemed like they were going to go any which way. And I don't want to take it away from Kansas City. I mean, Mahomes, he played, I'm not going to go Michael Jordan-esque. I know Tony Romo was just in love with him and just kept saying it over and over. But it was a hell of performance by that team. I mean, you can't take it away from them.
Well, everybody was counting Kansas City out at the beginning of the year with Tyreek Hill gone. Yeah. And Cincinnati beat them last month. So this is over. Cincinnati's going to take it. I wanted to take a step back, though, with Burrow. Now, think about it. In the first quarter, I think he had how many yards past it? Like nothing. He's got sacked 4 times and then just completely, second quarter got in a rhythm. If I'm starting a team now, that is the guy I want on my team.
Oh, without a doubt.
Over anybody else in this league, that's the man I want. He was unflappable. He run him for his life. You didn't see him react or get crazy emotional. And but so I give him a lot of credit too. But Mahomes, coming back, he got hurt last week. The high ankle sprains, you never know how that's going to play out. And he just took care of his business yesterday.
No, you gotta give credit. I mean, you hate it. You almost wish that was a Super Bowl. I mean, because that was such a good matchup. It was, it's Burrow is like I said, a phenomenal quarterback, and he's just smooth. That's the only thing you can say. Like I said, unflappable, doesn't get phased by anything. Because really, the first part of the game, Kansas City controlled it, and I'm sitting there, and I was getting everything ready for the show, and I'm fixing up the graphics, as you can see. I'm trying to jazz things up just a little bit. I don't want to make it too fancy, but try to jazz it up a little. And so I was doing everything Kansas City. I said, Mahomes and this and I didn't even bother with Cincinnati. And then like halfway through the game, I'm sitting there watching them doing. I was like, Oh man, I said I better. I said it looks like Cincinnati might take this. I had to go grab all the stuff to get Cincinnati, queued up, and it was just such a good game. Now let's see, we got a comment here.
Yeah.
Burrow had 2 series to win it and didn't get it done. No, I mean he didn't get it done. But damn, there was there was some
Yeah.
questionable stuff
Well,
going on, but no, it was just a great game. I can't hate on either one of those teams, either
no.
one of the quarterbacks, but I mean, I would agree if I'm starting a team today, both of them at the age, both of them at the level, both of them with the same weapons. I mean, I think I got to take Burrow, and that's no knock on Mahomes because Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback, and I mean, what
Yes.
5 AFC championship games I think he's been to in a row.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I'll tell you, you look at the Eagles game, the Eagles and 49ers. That game shouldn't have been that close in the second quarter. That game was still tight in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Then the AFC championship was complete opposite. It's like wow. So
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be over early.
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was a good day. I love, maybe one day in 27 years, my team's going to be in this and I can enjoy it, but I still love Championship Sunday. It's still my favorite day of football. It's just, it's a lot of fun. And unfortunately, we didn't get 2 great games. We only got 1. A lot of things happened to the other, but more importantly, Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you're paying attention to Uncle Cheech, but I think he had a lot of money. He had a lot of money riding on these games, and
Really?
I don't think he fared too well. I think he had San Francisco, and I want to say he had Cincinnati. So I think he has something to say about it. So let's see if Uncle Cheech is here and
Was
get
he
his
able to-
opinion because
was
I'm
he-
sure he's got a little bit to say. Let's get him over here.
I wonder if he's
And there he is. Uncle Cheech, you there? You live?
Uncle Cheech. Were you able to fire the hot tub up this weekend?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
How's
Good,
it going?
good.
Let me tell you something. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. I had 5 large on Cincinnati. 5 large.
Mm.
And I never seen any officiating like this. Roger Guilloune, he knew this was going to happen. As soon as the Eagles won the first game, he knew this was going to happen, so he gave him just a little extra help. I had my friend, Short Arm Joe, call me up and apologize. He said, gee, Cheech, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I don't know what to tell you because I've won money, I lost money, but I've never had money stolen from me like this. This is a complete disgrace to the sport. They need to run a full-scale investigation on this. Just a debacle.
Now, I don't know if you saw it. I could have sworn I saw a couple $100 bills flying out of one of the referee's pockets during that game.
Untaxed.
Soon as Cincinnati started coming back, it all happened like in the second half, if you remember. All these questionable calls. Soon Cincinnati started coming back, that's when the plan went into effect.
No.
I'll tell you right now, by God, I'll go to the papers over this. I swear I'll go to the papers.
Well, we don't want Uncle Cheech losing no money getting stolen from him.
I never get upset. Like I said, I won money, lost money. I would have felt better if I would have bet on the first game, who I picked the 49ers.
Yeah.
Quarterback goes down, oh well.
No, that was just an unfortunate thing that
That's
happened.
the race of the game. That's part of the game. But when you have a game stolen from you with these calls, they give a free play, let them drive down into scoring position. Unbelievable.
You know, it is.
This is a debacle.
Uncle Cheech, it's pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
I just tell you, I'm so upset. I had my girlfriend, one of my girlfriends, came over Maria LaBeiche. She said, let's go for a little walk. I didn't know it was going to be 3 miles. I almost damn near died on the way back. Trying to get me to relax.
You gotta relax a little bit, get all that stress off.
I've been upset since yesterday. I just couldn't believe it.
No.
Vinny Spaldone called me up. Who the hell else called me up? Frank Costa. They all called me up, said, Cheech, I can't believe this is happening. You know, am I the only one that sees this? Am I the only one?
No.
It's all over. I mean, it's all over the place. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think the NFL, I mean, people are on the up and all of this stuff. I mean, I'd hate to see that, but there's definitely, it makes you wonder. That's all I could say is it does make you wonder.
I'll
And
tell you,
It's
I can't laugh about Five Large, but
No.
you know, it makes me laugh.
That's serious Scott all.
it's
I've never seen it like this in my life.
but Uncle Cheech brings up a good point. All of a sudden, when that game got close, that's when the officiating flipped. That's when these outrageous calls started. Valid point.
No, absolutely. And now looking at it, Uncle Chief, they had the line out. I don't know if you had a chance, if you studied
I
the
think it's
Super Bowl. We're going to
two.
talk more about the Super Bowl matchup next week. We're not going to really get into it today. We'll let things settle a little bit. But I mean, Philly does open as a slight favorite, 2-point
I think
favorite.
it's 2 points when I checked this morning.
Yeah, 2 points. Now, Kansas City had some receivers, right? They lost 3 receivers during that game. That didn't help their situation much. Do you
Well,
see
they
that line kind of moving a little bit? Or you
Well,
think
they got 2 weeks to heal. Now,
Yeah.
as far as the line goes, before I bet the Five Large, remember, I think when we talked last time, I think it was Cincinnati -1. When
yes.
the game started, it was Cincinnati +2.
Yeah.
+2. They won by 3. How's that work out?
Wow. Well,
Oh.
I think someone needs to run a full scale investigation. I know you got connections. Maybe you can talk to some people and they can do some.
These are bigger people than me. Let me tell you something. I never like to say anything's rigged, but because I have a lot of faith in sports. But I've seen it in boxing and I've seen it in baseball. The Black Sox, remember the Black Sox?
Yeah.
Shoeless Joe, whatever the hell his name was, and
Arnold Rothstein.
Rothstein, that's him. I hardly know the man. But anyhow, I just can't believe it. I mean, these calls were beyond belief.
No, it was.
The last late hit that put him in position, I mean, that was just a little love tap.
Well, and that's the question is really, it was a couple hands on him. It wasn't anything flagrant. But could you call that game on the line? I mean, it was flashbacks to me. I don't want to bring up to really get you upset. It was flashbacks to me, Ohio State, Miami, when the game is over and 5 minutes later they threw a flag out saying, "Oh, pass interference." It just was. You don't call that at that point of the game. It changed everything.
Absolutely.
Right. Not when it's that close, right? When it wasn't a major late hit. It was questionable. Like you said, love tap.
Love tap.
BS call.
No, I mean, in that kind of game, how do you call that?
The grassy knoll.
All I know is I got tapped on a Five Large because he's a referee. That's all I know. How am I going to buy cigars?
You can write it off on your taxes as a loss.
Super Bowl.
I can't believe Short on Joe. He calls me up, said, "Gee, Cheech." He said, "I'm so sorry. He's already got my money. He ain't gonna give it back.
He just wants a
I'm
apology."
so sorry." He said, "I don't know what to tell you." He said, "He's never seen it. We've all been around. Me, Vinny Smaldone, Short Arm Joe, Johnny Costa. I mean, we've all been around. We've seen football for years. Never seen anything like this."
Yeah. No.
Shenanigans.
You're gonna have Roger Guilloons run an investigation.
He ain't gonna do that. He ain't doing nothing.
They wanted this was all planned from the beginning for ratings, to get Andy Reid to play against his old team. Anybody with half a brain can tell you that. Anybody.
Yeah.
Goodell's a puppet anyway.
I don't get excited. I don't get excited much, but this got me excited.
Well, don't get too excited. We need you next week because we got to talk about this Super Bowl and break that down a little bit. So calm down. Maybe you could reinvest, try and get some of that money back. Now I'll tell you, my man Jose, he says that Mahomes is going to take care of business. The Eagles are going to get lit up. They hadn't played a decent quarterback since the last one put 40 on them. So we're gonna see what happens. But I know you're fired up. I know you're ready to roll.
I'll tell you
So,
what, if the receivers are healthy, I mean, it all goes back who's healthy, who's not.
yeah.
Philadelphia didn't have a rough game. I mean, it was a gift.
No.
Yeah.
Quarterback goes down, that's the end. Who are they going to go to? The cheerleader to come in? Yeah.
No, and they're very fortunate. And again, you never apologize for how you get there, but they got there pretty damn easy. You know?
I told you, I would have rather had San Francisco and lose the game up and up.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't feel bad. I've lost poker games, I lost dog track and football games. Like you said, the Miami Hurricane game. Lost a lot of money then. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I've never seen nothing like this. And I hope I never see it again because this is bad for the sport. Takes all the fun out of gambling if you know something's not on the up and up. You know what I'm talking about?
I know, and hey, Doug wants you
what I mean?
he wants you to fire up that hot tub and get a little stress off your mind, maybe get a couple ladies or whatever, but you got to calm down because we're going to need you next week.
Well, I'm going to have to call up Maria LaBeiche to come over and maybe give a little rub down and relax a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
It'll be down to here, Uncle Cheech. Question for you. You ever bet the Trotters?
I bet everything. I used to go to Trotters. When I lived down in South Florida, I used to go to Pompano Park all the time.
Yeah. Now, do you think everybody says the Trotters are fixed on a regular bit? What are your thoughts on that?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Now,
not as bad as yesterday.
A friend of mine was a sulky or whatever they call him, jockey over there.
Yeah.
And the other guy used to beat him with the whip when they were going around.
Hey, let me tell you. We were at a sports bar a couple days ago. I was at a sports bar. We were watching they had the harness track. They had it simulcasted on.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching a horse. And guy told me, he said, when you see that tail up like that and then bend down late, he said, that horse is ready to run. My kids were there. God is my witness. My kids were there. My wife was there. And I said, that horse is going to win. Watch. And they all laughed at me. He wasn't even like 8-1. He wasn't the favorite or nothing. That damn horse started near the back and came up around and won by a nose. Ended up winning. The kids thought I was a genius.
I'll tell you, I love Trotters, and it was a sad day when Pompano Harness closed down for good. You know, so now you got all the Northeast tracks and Calex, but there's always been that controversy about it being fixed and all that, but not as fixed as the games yesterday that I saw.
Yeah, and did you really, Uncle Cheats? They said you haven't been this mad since you lost money betting on Apollo Creed to beat Ivan Drago.
I told you I used to follow boxing a lot. I used to bet here and I'm telling boxing at one time was the most rigged sport.
Yeah.
In the country.
We'll see. We're hopefully this won't affect the Super Bowl. It won't affect we get a good matchup.
Well, I hope not. They're going to get the big ratings, which was the whole point of this. And I agree with you guys. Joe Burrow would be my quarterback anytime, any place, anywhere. He's the best quarterback in the league today.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, the guy got screwed. I had a cigar ready for him too.
Oh yeah, no, he's good, man. He's a lot of fun. So hopefully, I know they'll be back. They'll get things figured out. But Uncle Cheech, we want you to calm down. I don't want no black flag hanging in no neighborhood. I want you to be ready because I need you next week. So just go relax in a hot tub. Get a lady to your left and a lady to your right, and relax and be back next week because we need you to break down the Super Bowl.
I called up Maria LaBeiche. You only need one lady.
All right, well, give her a holler. We'll see you next week.
Uncle Cheech, your public needs you. So get it back together. We'll see you next week. Ciao, presto, grazie.
There's
man, he was
Uncle
pissed.
Cheech, man.
I don't blame him.
No, I mean, yeah, he makes valid points. I mean, he makes valid points. So, it's it was weird, but you got to hope that they're on the up and up, and that you're not going to get any of that kind of stuff. So, you
But you
give
know what it
credit
is?
to the
No.
Chiefs on the game.
You do give credit, but the thing is, Uncle Cheat. I mean, he doesn't talk much about social. I don't think he's really on social media. I don't think he's
He's got a Twitter page, but I don't think he knows how to use it.
no. So by him, it was pure observance. So he wasn't listening to the sports radio or whatever else. He's got his own connection. So he saw it for his own eyes.
No, it was insane. It was insane. So, I mean, that pretty much, it sums it up. And so we've got the showdown. And it pains me to really even, put this graphic up. I hate it. But it is what it is. You got Philadelphia. You got Andy, going against, the Chiefs and Andy Reid. So it's going to be interesting to see how this matchup is. Early line is Philly by 2. We're going to break the game down more next week, but just your instant kind of thoughts when you're seeing this matchup.
I think that it's like I said earlier, Jalen Hurts. He's had good games this year. I saw nothing spectacular yesterday. I saw a game manager. I think if the Chiefs show up with that kind of pressure that they had on Burrow yesterday, which I think they will, I think they can. I think they'll control the line of scrimmage, and Hurts isn't going to be as cool, calm, and collected as Burrow was. And I think that the Chiefs. I see the Chiefs winning. I don't know by how much, but I see a Chiefs win.
Yeah, no, I think so. I don't want to give any predictions yet, but I'd be hard pressed to pick the Eagles. So that can tell you where I'm going. That's right. That's where I'm going with it. I just we'll see what happens. So it was a good weekend of football. Obviously, we talked about Kellen Moore. You saw a couple other things kind of happen. The salary cap is jumped up.
Yep.
So now you're at 220. It's going to 224, 225 million. So
yes.
It's going to be pretty nice for some of these NFL teams. I think everyone expected it to go up. That's why you're seeing a lot of these bigger contracts and things getting pushed out and keep moving that money down. So it was expected, but it's still it was kind of something to see. And then obviously we talked about the calls. Purdy came out. He had a UCL injury. I don't know if you saw that. So he did have a legitimate injury. He's probably out. They recommended surgery. So I know he got, I think it was Ric Flair.
Yeah, he called him out. I was in a plane crash. Get back out on the field now.
So he was taking a lot of heat. But he did have an injury, so he's going to be out 6 months. And I think with Purdy, I think it's probably, I don't know, it might be the last you see of him as a starter.
You know what? And that begs the question. That's what I was going to ask you next. I mean, you got the 49 Trey Lance, Garoppolo. You really think after that 7-game stretch that he's out? I don't know, man. I think that the 49er, they're going to have to get rid of a quarterback. Obviously, they're not going to carry Lance and Purdy and Garoppolo. But the question is, I think Purdy's going to get his shot, in my opinion.
No, I don't know. Can you hear my audio? That someone messaged it was crackling. I just saw it.
No, I don't hear any crackling at all.
The only thing that concerns me, I'm in my new studio, and the Wi-Fi is not all green, so I don't know if that's affecting the audio. So if
audio
it is,
sounds good.
I'm going to have to be back in the Cowboys cave. So let me know if you're in the chat if I'm not coming across clear. But anyway, Purdy. What I mean by that is I think he had lightning in the bottle. He had a great little run, and I mean we can go back in history of quarterbacks that kind of came out of nowhere and then they kind of faded away. And I think obviously you talk about Trey Lance. You don't know what San Francisco is really going to do. There's rumors of Tom Brady, which I mean I don't get, but he's a San Francisco, he's a San Francisco fan, he's a California kid, so finished up his career there. Kyle Shanahan, you got all that stuff. So I mean there could be I know it's at my booty Wi-Fi. I mean I'm in a dungeon. That's my problem.
Booty Wi-Fi.
It is one. Clarence said it's crackling, but I got to finish. It's too late now. I can't move all my stuff. But I think that's what's going to happen with Purdy. I think he's just going to kind of fade away, be a backup, maybe get another shot somewhere else. But I just don't see him being a starter with that kind of record. I don't know. I could be wrong. Hey, man.
No, and look, I'm not a shill for the 49ers. I mean, I just think back, but then you look at Brady. He came out of nowhere, and Bledsoe got hurt back in the day, and look what happened with him. You just don't know.
Yeah,
And then,
I don't see that from him. I don't know. I just in the
yeah,
games that he's been in, I just hadn't seen that kind of, that skill set and but I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm just giving you my opinion. It's
yeah,
kind of Rob Johnson-esque to go back in time.
yeah. Rob Johnson, yes, another disaster. Yeah, so I don't know. And then, like to the point of the salary cap, I'm excited because once we got rid of that Matt Ryan contract, where we owed him all that money, we have a lot of money into
Yeah.
this offseason. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, the cap. I mean, there's some teams with some serious case. You guys being one of them. There's some
Yeah.
key free agents. We're going to get into that in the offseason. We got a couple draft gurus that are going to be joining the show, guest in, do
Good.
some breakdowns. Talk about some of the. I told them maybe put together top 5 of each position, break those down, and maybe some sleepers for us to keep an eye on because we're no draft experts. You hear me now, Jimmy?
Yeah, I've been able to hear you just fine.
Okay. Yeah, it
yeah.
must be the connection. I'll replay it and then check and see if it's something.
Must be some of
But
his
yeah,
buddies.
so really that that I don't have anything else, man. It's just this is like that weekend, man. We talked about championship, talked about River Super Bowl. I needed to let Uncle Chief vent. He was very upset. And we're gonna get into that. I know you love a running back. I know we've been talking about it, so we will. I think my opinion. I'll say this on Cowboys, and I don't know if Jimmy you feel it with your team too. I just want the best available. If that running back, if he drops and he's the available and he's the best available there, take him. I trust our draft process. We've been pretty good. I mean, we took Micah Parsons, we took CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb wasn't a necessity, you could say at the time, but a great receiver dropped right in our hands, and we took him. So I'm a believer in best available. If that man's the best available, then I'd have no issues with the Cowboys draft.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we have a new defensive coordinator now. I mean, I think we're set at running back. I don't think we have any issues. Quarterback, though, it's tough. Desmond Ridder really didn't get a shot. I mean, he played his last 4 games, played well. But if there is the big name quarterback, I heard Lamar Jackson. I don't want any part of that.
No, I wouldn't.
Not at all.
I wouldn't.
But,
I wouldn't look at that because the guaranteed money and everything he wants to get. I just don't. He's been hurt, and I mean, his life is his legs. I mean, that's his strength. And if he loses that, he hasn't been proven to be a consistent passer, and I think that's gonna hurt him.
Hey, what about and you know me, I'm not a college guy, but what about Georgia quarterback getting dinged for throwing a few back in public?
Hey, well, first of all, he's like 25 years old. So I mean, what were we doing when we were 25? I mean, we were partying it up and doing all that other stuff. So I'd have no issues. I'd have he had some fun. He had some fun. He paid the price, and that's it. And yeah, Doug doesn't think our man's going to be there at 26. So it'll be. You know how it is in the draft. Things just happen. You end up getting a run of certain positions. You can get a run at receiver. You get a run at cornerback. I mean, some of these positions happen, and you could get some guys falling. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think with McCarthy. Being the OC, if he is the OC, or at least even if they get an OC, I think they're going to put a lot of emphasis on the offense in the draft. That's just my opinion. I think the defense is there. I mean, I think it's set. Yes. Most of the guys are under contract. You're filling a couple holes here and there, but I think I just don't see him getting a top-notch cornerback at 26. So I think maybe they end up getting cornerback in the second round or something like that. They may get a second-level guy. Because a better one will probably be gone, but you don't know what's going to happen.
And I'm not a college guy. I'm not going to pretend to be one, but I think your defense is fine. And you just now you got whomever's going to be calling your plays next year. You don't want to change. You don't want to have a big change for Dak Prescott. You don't want to change the offense completely, and have a brand new offense in place. But I think, like you said, you draft what you need, and I think your defense is fine.
Oh
That's
yeah,
not
our
the issue.
defense is gonna get better and better. Yeah, and I agree, Doug. We need to get a corner. We can sit here and talk draft all day. We need to get a corner. Obviously, they got Diggs, who's they're gonna have to re-sign. Bland's proven to be good, but Anthony Brown's a free agent coming off an injury. I don't see them bringing him back unless they got some really cheap deal and a 1-year deal because he couldn't go anywhere else. But he's not going to be really ready. And I think Kelvin Joseph kind of maybe blew his chance at that opportunity. And you kind of saw what they were doing, moving Izzy over there and doing this and that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But to ultra not drafting a cornerback, they're going to draft a cornerback. I don't know if it'd be 1, 2, or 3. They're going to draft a cornerback because they just don't have the depth there. And I understand Diggs and Bland, but Lewis, coming off injuries, I think he's still maybe under contract for another year. And then Izzy's he looked decent, but they got to get. You never have enough cornerbacks, man. So they're going to get a cornerback, but I think best available in the first round is the way I would go.
You can never have enough quarterbacks on your team.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you something though, and it's something we kind of talked about a couple of weeks ago. So let's say up in Buffalo, Diggs, actually, in my opinion, based on what I saw on the sideline, the way he was teeing off on Josh Allen, to me, that's a man who knows that he's gone. You don't do that in Buffalo to Josh Allen, and I think would you sign Diggs?
Heartbeat.
Okay.
Take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Take him in
I figured as much.
I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I don't. I met Diggs when he was with Minnesota, and I went to the Minnesota Cowboys game and ended up meeting them after the game at the little the bar thing. So he took a picture of me. I still have it. I have this big smile on my face because we beat him, and he just got this little smirk, like, why the hell am I taking a picture with a Cowboys fan?
Right.
But it'll be yeah. I would take him in a minute. And again, talking about cornerbacks and linebacker and all that, you don't know what free agency is going to bring. You don't know what Dallas is going to do in that aspect. Like, hey, you could use another receiver, but if you go get one in free agency, you just don't know. So that's why it's all kind of fun talk until we get closer, and then we start figuring out, okay, where can we fill in the holes that we have? Because you got to look at it. This team is the same team that put 40 on the Super Bowl team that's there. They didn't have Hurts. We put 40 on their defense. It's a team that beat Burrow and the Bengals with our backs against the wall with our backup quarterback. The Cowboys aren't far away. They need something. That's why, not to jump back to Kellen Moore, but that's where you go back and say they had to change something. You can't change the quarterback. It's too much money. You're not going to change the defense coordinator. I mean, he's doing a great job, and you're happy to have him back. The head coach has had back-to-back 12 wins. I mean, you can't fire him.
Right.
Offense has been the one problem in big games. The offense has not shown up, and you can go back to questionable play calling and questionable situational football. And they had to part ways. And again, it's nothing against Kellen Moore. He's a great guy. I mean, he did everything he could. The offense was good, but in key situation, what happens? You got to change something. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But this team's not far away. I mean, they're not far away. Now the division's getting better. The conference could be getting better. You got Atlanta. Hey, maybe Atlanta gets going. Carolina fought a little bit. I know. Hey, they got a lot of money. It's been proven that these teams can flip it quick. Chicago's got the number 1 pick. Fields was looking pretty good. You get some weapons around them. You just don't know. So every year is so unique and so different. Philadelphia, they've got the pieces, but they've got some free agency holes too. And you just don't know. Year to year, you just don't know. But the core, this is a young team. The Cowboys, I want to say, are like the 4th or 5th or 6th youngest team. They're young. And their core's together. So make a few moves, strategic moves. Jerry Jones, don't get, he said he'll never get a hand cramp from writing a check to win a Super Bowl. So, let's get that check moving, open up that pie, the pieces of the pie, and let's see if we can get something rolling.
Well, and to your point, the NFC East is evolving into a tough division. I mean, who saw the Giants coming on like they did? Even for that matter, Washington came on strong toward the end. Last game they stutter step and they drop the ball, but that's a tough division, right? But the beauty is, like I said, I think Jalen Hurts, I still don't see it. And somebody had made a point in the comment section, about how many 300-yard games he has or whatever. I don't see it, but hey, they made it to the show. They're going to the show, and my team's not. So I can't really say much else about that. But again, moving to the next
my
season.
man, Ultra Cowboy, he cemented my point. So thank you.
Okay, 8 defensive
eight starters at free agent. Cowboys got the 4th youngest roster. So this team is built, they're there. It's just, let's clean some stuff up. Let's get some things right. And, Hurts is going to get paid. And Hurts should get paid, and he's going to get paid. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But, like I said, Jimmy, we got a lot of football to talk about. We've got a lot of stuff, sports. You can see what we're doing. We're getting this channel going with Jimmy D and I Monday nights. We'll see how the time works. If we keep 7, we're still kind of figuring things out there. But Thursday nights, we got, 9 o'clock with Kelly K9 and I. That's, primarily just Cowboy talk. We'll be popping up in between. So you guys got to make sure, if you're not subscribed, you got to subscribe. We're getting there. We've got a lot of big plans in the summer, some interviews, some maybe hopefully get, maybe diversify a little bit. We got so many football guys. We need to get some baseball, maybe some hockey, I'm talking maybe some professional wrestling. We got that in the works, Jimmy D. We might get some professional wrestling up for you. So we've got a lot of things in the mix. So make sure you guys continue to support the channel. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe is free. Don't cost you nothing. All it does is help us get the word out. And
do us a favor, tell your friends about us. Come on, we love talking to people. When we get the phones going, we're gonna have people calling in, live interaction. And like Mike said, once the Super Bowl's over, we're gonna be talking a lot of other sports and wrestling. Hey, I'd love to talk some wrestling. Actually, I had a couple people hit me up saying, "When are you guys gonna talk wrestling?" So
we're working on some professional wrestling interviews. So the executive producer is who's in charge of talent has been working the phones about Uncle Cheech mud wrestling. We don't want to do that. He'll end up like my boy Blue. We can't have any of that stuff. But all seriousness, we appreciate it. We're just kind of working out the kinks. As you can see, I'm in here, and we got to make sure everything is right. I'm trying to make it easier on my family because I move stuff around all the time and easier on me. So we're putting this stuff together. We both have a lot of fun with it. On Thursdays with Kelly, we love talking football, Cowboys, sports, everything. So continue to support the channel. We don't charge you nothing. We ain't gonna ever charge you nothing. If anything, we're gonna be doing some giveaways because I got stuff in the Cowboys cave. I can't keep everything, so we're gonna be doing some raffles. And then when we get up to our next goal of 2,500. We're going to be maybe giving away some tickets to a game next season. So talk wrestling. Hey, you missed it, Steve. We talked about that. That Chiefs Bengals game sure seemed like it was
choreographed. Not fixed. It's not fake. It's choreographed. Let's get it straight, okay?
Yeah,
it's not high school or collegiate. It's professional. What I did want to say too, and I know there's I don't know how many hockey fans are out there, but nostalgia. Rest in peace to the Golden Jet, Bobby Hull, one of the greatest players ever, 3rd most points ever behind Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe. He passed away, 82 years old. That guy was funnier than hell. He was tight with Michael Jordan, both Chicago guy, tight with Michael Jordan. Just rest in peace to one of the best players ever.
Sorry to hear that. Definitely, you hate to see legends go, and that's why we tried to find some legends to interview, because you hear these stories. And if you guys are new to the channel, there's a lot of player interviews that we've done so far between football players from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that you can check on our channel on the playlist. I mean, you just hear the stories of them. It's great. And also, I've rescheduled Brad Johnson. He was supposed to be on. Pregame to the Cowboys Bucks when we had our Thursday show, but it got screwed up. Then we tried to do it another week, and he had some audio issues, so that screwed it up. And then we're gonna do it this week, so it won't be live. We're gonna have to pre-record it just because of the timing and stuff. And whenever you do interviews, it's hard to do them live because of the technical issues that I just talked about. So we'll get that straightened out, and definitely check out all the stuff and appreciate it.
We got to find the Brad Johnson crank call. Remember from back in the day?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to give it away, but
oh man, but it's gonna be good. So tell everyone about it. Stay tuned. We're having a great time on the channel, it's off season, so it makes it a little tough for me. Being a Cowboys fan, it makes it so hard. I thought this is finally the year. Everything worked out. Then we got our heart broken. But anyway, I digress.
You know what? I see Steve talking about Roman Reigns. You know what, Steve? I don't know how much, and I watch both of them. I mainly watch AEW, but I watch WWE. MJF, the best wrestler in the world today, the best on the mic in the world today, bar none. Wait till his contract comes up in January 24 and see how much that man is making wherever he's going to be.
Yeah. So we'll see. But we'll get out of here. Time is almost up. I got to do some homework. I appreciate it. Jimmy D, we'll see you next week. And everyone else, appreciate the love, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Dallas gonna handle that business. We gotta get hype. Can you feel me? Now, can you?